Every legend begins the same way, with someone who has no idea what they're doing. And that someone is you. Don't worry, you'll die so much slower once you learn the basics. So, you've heard the whispers, the tales of high fantasy and desperate battles. You're curious about Pathfinder. Let's get one thing straight. Pathfinder is a game where you create a character, join a party, and attempt to survive monsters, traps, cosmic horrors, and the game master's chronic need for drama. It's a collaborative story where the ink is a mix of imagination, strategy, and pure, unfiltered chaos. Forget what you think you know about board games. This is an entirely different beast, one that might just bite back. It's about forging a hero from nothing and watching them navigate a world that is, more often than not, trying to actively unforge them. You're not just playing a game, you're stepping into a saga, a living world that reacts to your every choice. And trust me, the choices you make will have consequences. So, what do you actually need to start this perilous journey? It's simpler than you think, but don't mistake simplicity for safety. First, you need dice. Polyhedral dice, to be specific. These aren't your standard six-sided cubes, they are the physical embodiment of fate, the arbiters of success and failure. The D20, the 20-sided die, will become your closest friend and your most hated enemy. Next, you need a character sheet. This is your adventurer's soul on paper, a record of their strengths, their flaws, their gear, and their probably misguided ambitions. Finally, and most importantly, you need a willingness to accept that luck, in its infinite and cruel wisdom, hates you. You will plan the perfect heist, the flawless spell, the heroic charge, and your dice will deliver a result so comically disastrous you'll question reality itself. Embrace it. The greatest stories are born from the greatest failures. Now, let's talk about your first character. This isn't just about picking stats, it's about choosing a vibe, an identity. The fighter. You're a master of arms, a bulwark of steel and resolve. Built for danger, you are the line that will not break. Fighters often live longer than your last 3 brain cells, soaking up damage so the squishier members of your party don't have to. Then there's the rogue. You're the shadow in the alley, the whisper in the dark. You solve problems, usually by creating new, more interesting ones. Locks, traps, secrets, they're all just puzzles waiting for your deft touch, or a well-placed dagger. How about the wizard? Physically, you're about as durable as wet parchment. But intellectually, you wield the fundamental forces of the universe. You are a glass cannon who can, with enough preparation, vaporize continents. Just, try not to get sneezed on. And finally, the cleric. Part healer, part smiter, and full-time spiritual disappointment counselor for a party of lovable degenerates. You channel divine power to mend wounds and punish the wicked, all while questioning the life choices that led you to this group. So what does playing this game actually feel like? Here's the cycle, the rhythm of adventure. It's simple, really. First, you declare your intent. You look at the game master, your voice filled with misplaced confidence, and say what you want to do. I want to persuade the Goblin King to give us his crown. I'm going to leap across the chasm. I try to disarm the ancient, rune-covered trap. Then, the GM, with a knowing, gentle smile, describes how badly you have misjudged the situation, detailing the unforeseen complications and the looming, obvious peril you somehow missed. And finally, you roll the dice to see exactly how catastrophic it all gets. That single roll determines whether you become a legend or a cautionary tale. It's a constant dance between your ambition and the cold, hard math of probability. Sometimes you soar. Often, you faceplant. The fun is in the not knowing. But if it's all just flirting with disaster, why does this game hook so many of us? Why do we keep coming back to the table, session after session, risking it all? Because Pathfinder doesn't just build characters, it builds stories. It forges memories. These are the kind of stories told around tables, laughed about in group chats, and retold for years. It's the story of how your barbarian accidentally adopted a goblin tribe. The time your wizard polymorphed the villain into a harmless sheep. The session where you barely survived, holding onto your last hit point by a thread, and emerged victorious against all odds. These moments aren't scripted. They're earned. They're yours. You'll learn. You'll fight. You'll fail, beautifully. You'll craft a hero, watch them grow, and maybe even see them retire. Or, more likely, go out in a blaze of glory that people will talk about forever. The world is waiting. It's dangerous, it's unforgiving, but it's also magnificent. Welcome to the world. Your adventure starts now.